Go currently owns 93 Pokémon. That's more than Ashy Boy himself, so there's a pretty big chance that he has some super rare ones to show off. Because of this, in this video, I'm going to be counting down the top 5 rarest Pokémon that Go owns. Just like I did for Ash in a previous video, that you can watch by clicking the link at the top of the screen. Of course, there's no objective measures of rarity in the Pokémon world, but this is a mix of my opinions and the world building established in the anime. If you enjoy videos like this, be sure to like and subscribe, and comment below the Pokémon that you think are Go's rarest. And just a quick note, I won't be including Go's Eternatus, since it's not really properly his Pokémon. He just called it to save Galar and then immediately gave it to Professor Magnolia, who sealed it away underground. So, without further ado, let's get straight into the list. Number 5. Go's Arctosal. Arctosal was an ancient hybrid Pokémon created by putting together a fossilised bird and a fossilised dino in the Galar region. These fossils were described as extremely rare in the anime, and so that suggests that Arctosal is extremely rare itself. However, the fossils were found and put together by the most careless and clumsy fossil researchers in the history of the show. And then they just freely gave Arctosal to Go, after like 5 minutes of it being born. That to me suggests that despite Arctosal being rare, it's not as incredibly rare as you might expect. The researchers handed it over to Go without thought, and also the Pokédex already had data about Arctosal too, so they clearly weren't the first people in the world to create one. Number 4. Go's Voltorb. This one is self-explanatory. Go's Voltorb is shiny, and it's unknown how common shiny Pokémon are in the anime, but based on how we've seen so few throughout the series, it's safe to assume they're incredibly rare. So let's base the odds on Let's Go Pikachu and Let's Go Eevee, since they're both set in Kanto, which is where Go caught his shiny Voltorb, and they're both based on the anime. So the base odds of finding a shiny Pokémon in Let's Go Pikachu and Let's Go Eevee are 1 in 4096. So that makes shiny Voltorb very, very, very rare. Number 3. Go's Golurk. Go's Golurk is a giant Pokémon, being many times bigger than a normal Golurk. Giant Pokémon are so rare that we've actually seen less of them than shiny Pokémon in the anime. And not only this, Golurk was resting at the deepest parts of the Colossus Ruins in Unova. The Colossus Ruins are a newly discovered set of ruins linked to an ancient city which were completely unexplored. In these ruins, Golurk hatched from a huge ancient egg and was revealed to be the true identity of what the researchers called the Colossus, the powerful ancient guardian of the Colossus Ruins. After a big raid battle involving Go, Ash, Kira, the excavation leader, Go managed to catch the ancient guardian. So the fact that Golurk is a giant Pokémon and is the famed guardian of some undiscovered ruins, well, that just shows how rare it is. Number 2. Go's Suicune. Suicune is a legendary Pokémon, and that alone justifies its position of number 2. There are very few legendary Pokémon in the world, and because of their insane amount of power and how rare they are, there's even far fewer trainers who have the merit of catching one. And to make matters even more rare, Suicune has canonically been shown to be hard to find and hard to catch. In the games, Suicune was a roaming legendary Pokémon, always fleeing whenever you find it. And in the anime, Suicune was so rare and hard to catch that Eugene literally dedicated his entire life to tracking it down. So Suicune is even harder to find and even harder to catch than many other legendaries. Go got incredibly lucky that he happened to stumble upon it and bond with it. Suicune is by far one of the rarest Pokémon ever caught by any character in the anime's history. Number 1. Go's Magikarp. You probably think this is one of those videos where I put a silly choice at number 1, give a little explanation, and then go, haha, I'm just kidding. Here's the real number 1 pick. But guess what? I'm actually not kidding. I'm serious. In Pokémon Journeys episode 24, Go, after many struggles, managed to catch a giant Magikarp in Sinnoh, which was much, much, much bigger than any normal Magikarp. Giant Pokémon alone are incredibly rare. Like I said before, we've seen less giant Pokémon than we've seen shiny Pokémon in the anime. But that isn't the main thing that makes Go's Magikarp rarer than all the rest of Go's Pokémon. Let me explain. In Pokémon Journeys episode 26, Go entered his Magikarp in a Magikarp high jump competition, which involved Magikarp trainers from all over the world competing to see whose Magikarp could jump the highest. Now prepare yourself to hear this, because it is spectacular. Go's Magikarp made it to the finals and competed against the reigning monarch, a shiny Magikarp. The event began with both Magikarp launching up into the sky. Soon after, the shiny Magikarp began falling back down, but Go's Magikarp didn't. His Magikarp kept going and going and going and getting higher and higher and higher, to the point that Ash and Go couldn't even see it anymore. In fact, it launched so high that it exited the Earth's atmosphere and began travelling into space too. It literally got so high into space that it never returned down to Earth. I mean, until days later when it eventually crash landed. I would love to sit here and talk you through the scientific and mathematical explanations and equations to calculate the force necessary for Magikarp to jump from the Earth's surface to up beyond the atmosphere, but truthfully, I've been out of high school for far too long to remember how to do that. But let's be honest, we don't need maths to explain this. Go's Magikarp has greater strength than any regular Pokemon we've ever seen in the anime's history. It literally has the power to jump so high that it can exit the Earth's atmosphere and launch into space itself. And also, just for context, we saw another giant Magikarp in the original series, and we saw it jump too, and that Magikarp didn't even come close to matching Go's Magikarp's jumping ability. Go's Magikarp is clearly much more special than just being giant. It can literally launch beyond the atmosphere. I refuse to believe that Go's Magikarp isn't the rarest Pokemon any character has ever owned. Try and find another Pokemon that can do this. I challenge you. So there we have it. Those were Go's top 5 rarest Pokemon of all time. In my opinion, of course. Let me know what Pokemon you think are Go's rarest in the comments below, and of course be sure to like and subscribe if you enjoyed. Thank you all so much for watching, and as always, I'll catch you all in the next one.